right, guys. Quick shout out here. My MetaFi is home of all the guest primers, all the free tournaments, all the giveaways, and all my personal guides. These guys in front of you are freshly updated over there. You see Issa Tempo, Beanstalk Control, Jeskai Wizards, Eldrazi Aggro, Blue-Eyed Riddler, Demir Tempo, Affinity, Omniscience. All these and more you find over on my MetaFi. Use code ECO50 for a juicy 50% off your first month as a Book Smart Baron. I can't wait to see you over there. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another Legacy video. Today I'm going to be playing something pretty cool. A new printing of Super Shredder. This card slots nicely into a shell with Moonshadow. This is a 2-drop with Menace. Whenever another permanent leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Super Shredder. So, leaves the battlefield, huh? So, on both sides of the table. So remember, if I wasteland, it grows by 2. If I daze, it grows by 1. If I sack a bauble, it grows. If I kill one of my opponent's creature, it grows, right? My opponent wastelands. If my opponent dazes, it will grow. So I think this is just a pretty good beater. I love the Menace. I think that's very awesome. Moonshadow, a card that is good with a lot of the same things, including baubles. I play the best removal spells I have available here. I play Thoughtseize, and the days that I talked about, I have a deck with 10 aggressive 1-drops, explosive Dark Ritual openings. I think during the first days and even the second days will be backbreaking in some games. I play Voidwalker in the 2 slot, basically, instead of Bowmaster. I think Orcish Bowmasters is mainly something you want to play in your deck where you want to kill the opponent's Bowmaster. I don't care too much about that card. For my deck, I mean, I have some baubles, sure, but I think Voidwalker could be more game-breaking. Then I have a couple of Baragorves as the curve topper. Straight up mana base here with a single swamp, tons of edges, and 4 wastelands. Now, of course, by playing almost mono black, we do need some help out of the sideboard against most matchups. So we have a card like This card is good against any combo deck. Shelter's Edict, good against any creature deck and lands. Snuff Out, like probably the best removal spell because this deck likes to tap out, apply pressure. So to impossible, I should do like this actually. Let's do this split instead. Run 3+2. I think Snuff Out is just good because we will consistently be the most aggressive deck. A couple of Flutes for a sorted combo. A couple of Deluges, which might look weird, but I think these are very good against energy. I hope to have a sideboard plan where I can bring out Dazes and Voidwalkers and have bigger creatures in play, essentially. Even more Baragorves against most fair matchups, to be honest, including Stompy decks, and then 4 times Graveyard Hate split between Fairy and Surgical. They have their pros and cons, so let's just see how they work out. This is hopefully going to be a good Nethergoyf deck as well. And yeah, this deck just looks pretty cool. I haven't spent all that much time, but I did put in a decent chunk of time to make this deck. Oh, by the way, I'm rounding up the 1-drops with a couple of Stalkers. I think that card is like Moonshadow on a budget, and I think we can overwhelm some opponents. So yeah, let's see if we can shred through some opposition in some matches. All right, I'm playing the mono black deck, splashing 3 dazes. Let's see what the opponent is up to. My hand looks fine. And start the game with a Thoughtseize, follow up with 2 creatures. Not bad, not bad. As always, playing first is pretty important. Let's see if we just die to show and tell turn 1 here. That would be less than ideal. Okay, I guess we take this. The opponent's taking some damage, cracking a pedal. And I can hopefully pick apart their draw with a Thoughtseize and then start applying pressure. Let's see how that works. I think, funnily enough, that I should fetch Underground Sea, even though I don't have the daze, but my opponent might think I have the daze. Oh, wow. I'm playing against a big blue-red deck that ends with Ugin. Okay. Looks like the One Ring is going to be the biggest problem here. Huh, that's scary. My opponent will go Fable, and I will go Moonshadow Nethergoyf. Yeah, this is scary stuff. Okay, I've never seen it before. They pass. All right. Moonshadow. That card is gone. The opponent has Ugin. I mean, this deck might just cook me. Play a Curd Ape, pass. So now the Goblin token can't attack. The opponent thinks I'm a Daze deck, which I am, but I don't have it. Prophetic Prism. Interesting. Tronland. That's a lot of mana. Outpost gone. Let's see what this is. Could this be bouncing Nethergoyf attack? Forcing the trait. That's cool. Oh, wow. Yeah, this deck is gonna easily beat me here, unfortunately. Let's see. What happened here? Create a... exiling the Fable. Okay, that's terrible. Okay, we just got super cooked here. All right, opponent likes their deck. That's not forbidden. I allow it. One Ring. Yeah, we probably don't have very many interesting cards against our opponent, so let's just have a look at the removal spells and most likely look to cut them. These four are serviceable. And then the question is, should I just add a Baragoyf? I guess. Yeah, that seemed very scary. And my draw was the fairest of them all, so I guess big mana decks is the problem for this deck on paper, which is kind of funny. So let's just imagine our opponent plays like Forge or Cloud Post, right? All right, this hand looks cool. Let's get Moon Shadow going, shall we? Is this pre-game action? Is this Leyline? I don't know. Let's see. So I can go turn 1 Moon Shadow, bobble, draw. Let's see. Fetch Underground Sea. I'm a little bit sad how the other game played out, that I showed the Underground Sea. I guess I had to with my third land. Let's see what the opponent's drawing. The opponent's drawing the One Ring, which, I mean, we have Disruptive Flute for, so that's not the end of the world. Okay, Bobble keeps the engine running. Grim Monolith. Well, I think I'll try and get a Juicier Days later, but that could be my last famous last words. Okay, Stalker's pretty interesting. So what happens if I go Stalker, fetch, Nethergoyf versus Bobble? Briefly forgot about that card. Now that the Grim Monolith is toying with me. Let's see if the opponent will do something here. Nope. I'm interested if my opponent picks up on the fact that I could be a Daze deck. It's always good. A little bit of commentary from the opponent. Not your typical blue-black tempo. They're certainly right. So let's make this resolve. Then let's Disruptor Flute it. So yes, my opponent will time walk my board. Oh, let's see what this is. Maybe we have to daze here. I think dazing here is necessary. So now let's do this one. Let's slam Disruptor Flute. And now let's see what this is. At the beginning of your end step. So I botched it here. I should not have fetched here. I should have played a normal land and bobbled, because now I'm going to miss out on a stalker trigger next turn. If I crack the bauble now, which I should. So, okay, should have played a normal land here. I lose out on a pump next turn. Let's see here. Opponent loses 1. I draw. And the opponent's facing down, let's call it almost lethal here, with the ring, with, you know, Ancient Tomb, all of that jazz. Wasteland, maybe a little bit too late. Let's see if the opponent has another ring here. They can't use... Oh, I guess the new ring is a 7-drop. Never mind. The opponent could be in trouble here. I guess a card like K-Command would be awesome. K-Command taking care of the Moon Shadow and making some blockers, probably. Okay, the opponent's had enough here. That's cool. Unfortunately, they learned about days. I'm not a big fan of that. I didn't really learn anything aside from I want to draw my Wastelands and Thoughtseizes, Days, Flute. Like, I need to disrupt this player. I can't just, you know, I can't just play random creatures and win. Let's see if we can have a Dark Ritual opener. That would be cool. Dark Ritual, baby. Yeah. This is fine. I really want to... Okay, my opponent with a double mulligan. That's pretty good to start for me versus a Thoughtseize situation. Mull to 4, mull to 3. I don't know what's going on here. Mulling to 3 and getting Thoughtseized. I mean, the opponent could have Nexus and Tower, and then, you know, obliterate me that way. Okay, so they have that card into a play. I drew Dark Ritual like a madman. Wow, see. I think it's time to Dark Ritual, cast Voidwalker, cast Thoughtseize, and then beat my opponent with their last card. Let's see. Let's bobble the opponent. Let's see if they draw another banger. I don't think that's a banger. Dark Ritual, Voidwalker, Thoughtseize. Don't mind if I do. Pass. Slam the One Ring from Voidwalker. So cool. So cool. GG's. That was awesome. Dark Ritual from the top. Replay. I'm sorry, play the opponent's One Ring. That's all she wrote. All right, pretty cool stuff here. Let's keep playing. Guys, last month I launched my YouTube membership program. You can become a YouTube Baron. For $5 per month, you get Metagame Monday After Dark, where I basically dissect all the numbers from Metagame Monday, turn them into actual solutions for us to win tournaments in the week to come. And then I have this juicy series with Eureka Eyes on the Prize, where we replay the 5 challenge finals every week. So basically, we get to see some championship action week after week. So that's 2 additional videos for the cost of $5 per month. I can highly recommend. But wait, there's more. When I get to 100 members, I will give away this awesome artist proof signed Kappa Cannoneer. Beautiful card, a retro frame hollow. If you want to be in that draw, go become a YouTube Baron. I hope to see you over there. All right, next match. And this hand is a little bit sketchy, but I think I have to trust my deck here. Worth noting is I don't play any Surveil lands. I wish I did, but I don't want to play too many lands. I don't want... I don't want to play too few untapped sources. I don't know. In theory, it didn't make any sense, but I don't know. Between Dark Ritual, you know, an 8 baubles, who knows? Maybe I can cut an Underground Sea for a Surveil land. I'll think about it. I don't want a Thoughtseize, taking a Thoughtseize. I think I should lead on Wasteland here. How does that sound? Just try and randomly make my opponent unable to play the game. I'm bad against the opponent developing Tamiyo. They have like land Tamiyo. My play looks very bad. What's my alternative? That's casting Thoughtseize, take their best play, and then worry about wastelanding later. Okay, maybe that's the play. I really don't want to lose to just a Tameo and a land. Let's see what we're up against. I will Days of Days here. Okay, never mind. The opponent's Doomsday. The Consider gives it away. Well, I feel like I should take the opponent's Consider and let them Thoughtseize me. Surveil. That's fine. I'll Wasteland. Let's just take the cantrip and then play against the interaction. So this is another turn where they can't have Tameo. Right now they think they're playing against normal blue-black tempo. There's Polluted Delta. There's Thoughtseize on my days. Now the other Thoughtseize is a dead card. Hopefully they didn't draw Tameo. Let me put it that way. Hopefully they didn't draw Tameo. This game is going to be a little bit weird. White Walker is a great draw for later. I think for now I need to keep down my opponent. I'm okay letting my opponent surveil here before firing Wasteland. Oh, no, wait a minute. They just saw... Yeah, let's just do it now, because they just saw I had a second Wasteland, so they're not going to fetch surveil end of turn. They're going to sit on this land. Let's see. Is this the opponent casting something and dazing it? No, it's not. It's actually the surveil. Okay. Fair enough. The opponent's down to one land. They have Daze and Thoughtseize. They might Thoughtseize to Voidwalker, which is annoying, but I'm kind of playing for the long game here, hoping to reach a state where my opponent doesn't play the game. They did put a card on top, though, so let's see if they put together the perfects here. That would be so annoying. The perfects being Dark Ritual Doomsday. Okay, they did not. So, ooh, Moonshadow's a cool one. So, if I get dazed, I'll pay, I guess. Yeah, let's do it. Cast Moonshadow, pay for the days, move on with my life. Wait a minute. But the opponent has Orcish Bowmasters, and I get kind of blown out here? That's annoying. But I'll have to wait until the opponent's upkeep to at least steal the mana. Nice Bowmasters. That's unfortunate. But I had to make this play. No Bowmasters. Wow. So why didn't the opponent daze me? I think they should have dazed me there. If they just have Murktide Regent, it doesn't matter, but they don't. Okay. And they're still not Thoughtseizing me. That's funny. So I think I should play land Nethergoyf. And then I should attack for 3. Let's move past blocks in case they drew Bowmasters now. Again, I wish I had a Surveil land. I guess I'll have to track that as I playtest the deck. All right, getting in for 3. I'm trying to make it complicated for the opponent to go Doomsday Pass by having lethal in play, and so far I'm doing a decent job of that. Even if they land Murktide Regent, I can still keep attacking with Moonshadow, which is good. Tameo is kind of too late to matter once I have 2 cards that are trumping it in combat. Now I'll do the same play land, play Voidwalker, pay for days, grow the shadow. Let's do this to get in for 7. I can lose to some Dark Ritual Doomsday cycle shenanigans, but other than that, I'm doing very well for myself. Let's see what good old Alex can do here. Yep, that works. Doomsday. Because of the consider, that's very important to understand. Conceding the game. All right, Doomsday. Well, I like this creature. That seems pretty decent. I don't like Snuff Out because I expect Baragorphs, so I want my cards to be... Maybe I should cut Dazes here, actually. Do I have the... If I add a fourth Fatal Push... Maybe just 2 Dazes then. No, I'm sorry. I'm forgetting the Flutes. Okay. Flute is good on Doomsday, making it very expensive. I think this is good. And then on the play, I bring back in the Dazes. Instead of something like Baragorph and I don't know, a land probably. Wasteland maybe. Or a Stalker. Or a Ritual. Tough to say. How many creatures do I have now? I have 21 creatures. That means, yeah, 2 Baragorphs and... tough to say. Stalker maybe? Doomsday should be a decent matchup. I guess I'm bad against... Oh, I should diversify my removal a tiny bit for Marktide Regent. Let's do that. 2 edicts, 2 pushes. Okay. The opponent's really thinking about what they saw there. They saw in a super aggressive deck. Moonshadow, Nethergoyf. What else did they see? Thoughtseize. Oh, they saw Daze. Okay, so I guess having Daze in the sideboard makes decent sense. If I ever get my opponent to slow themselves down a turn, I think that's epic for mono black aggro. Time will tell whether Voidwalker or Bowmasters is the superior 2-drop. This card can swing a game totally where Bowmasters is a little bit more of a bread and butter card. I do like the evasive damage, though, like in stall situations. Just randomly comboing with Thoughtseize is cool, but we can't get too hung up when we have Galaxy scenarios. We're not gonna snatch a One Ring all that often. Okay. I mean, this is a solid hand. We lose to their best draws. That's kind of what this deck does, which is a little bit annoying. If the opponent has a normal turn like Ponder, I will Thoughtseize them. If they play turn 1 Tamiyo, I think it's time to go turn 1 Stalker, turn 2 Mai. Let's see. Tamiyo is kind of the card that can change the equation. I mean, Ritual Doomsday, but this deck can't really do much about that. I really think this card is a good design. I think it's really, really cool. Just being a annoying card for any deck that's trying to cast cantrips, stock ups, what have you. Kind of punishing casting consistency cards, where this deck is just mainly just playing out its stuff. I mean, taking 2 for a bauble is not fun, but hopefully most baubles are cast before the Mai. All right, let's see what the opponent came up with. Scalding Tarn. We are currently rooting for the Ponder. Sad to see the Tamiyo. Even more sad to see the Ritual. This, we take any day of the week. I probably lose my Thoughtseize here and I have to play out a 2-2. That's quite embarrassing, but that's Magic the Gathering. So once again, we're rooting for drawing Dark Ritual. That would actually be ridiculous. We drew Dark Ritual again. Okay, well, let's see. Let us see. Dark Ritual. That creature that creature pass. The opponent would have dazed the ritual. They would have forced this, so we kind of knows what's up. So now we are building a pretty decent board that's still super weak to Baragoyf, so I'm certainly not gonna count my chickens before they hatch here. If my opponent is a combo deck, let's see, Dark Ritual Doomsday go to what? 8? No, because they also lose 4, so 13 go to 6. Then they can't cast any more spells. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what the opponent's plan is. I have the Eidolon, Spell Eidolon here. Boom. Scornful Striker. Pretty cool art. I like the Japanese style. Ninjas and stuff like that. You miscalculated. I love Suko more than I fear you. That's pretty powerful. Love beats fear. And then this clown. Budget Moonshadow. But still decent enough, I think, to round out the thread base. Come on, Alex. Let's see your next play. Nobody said it was going to be easy. You have a challenge on your hand. You're facing down aggro. You're getting punished for casting spells. And, yeah, YouTube is counting on you to make it good play. YouTube wants a game 3. This is legendary, by the way, so you cannot stack these. I guess that's fair. I don't really think it would push the needle or anything. Push the needle? Move the needle, that's the one. But, yeah, who knows? It was also a legendary draw, so it's drawing it up nicely. If the opponent has anything like a setup turn or what, okay, well, now we just get to see what's going on. Dark Ritual, Doomsday. Now the opponent's trying to figure out if they can power through the pile. I mean, if they just slam Baragoyf here, I'm probably in trouble. So let's see. If they slam Doomsday here, they go to 6. I attack, they go to 2. That means no Street Wraith. That means no spells. Oh, you have a Baragoyf opponent. What's the problem? The Shredder is a good one. It looks like I should be double blocking a Baragoyf next turn. So let me do that by playing a Stalker and pass the turn. If my opponent has a removal spell, I mean, so be it. I'm gonna double block next turn. This gross kind of doesn't matter unless the Baragoyf gets one bigger, I guess. Okay, might matter. So what's in the yard? Land, sorcery, instant. I'm getting super blown out by removal here. But I don't think I can worry about that. I need to make the double block, take my medicine, throw the Shredder to a good clock, replay a Mai, and then take it from there. Uncounterable Merfolk. I guess that tells me the opponent is not running... what am I thinking about here? I guess that tells us the opponent is not running Murktides. Maybe? Maybe they have Ritual Doomsday in hand, and they're looking to get some life, get in the double, you know, get the Mai off the table, cast Doomsday, and I could be in trouble. So basically, I think they just sideboarded into extra threats, like minus Force of Will. Let's see here. The Shredder is growing from the opponent's fetches. Let's see what they're going for, because this could be like a Surveil trying to grow the Baragoyf. This could be just slamming another Baragoyf and chilling. This could be a lot of things. So at least I was right about the sideboard plan, because I do have 2 pushes, 2 edicts in my deck. Okay. All right, opponent. Let's see what you got here. Let us see what you got here. 2 cards in hand. I'm getting blown out by removal. But I already came to terms with that. I'm going to double block with my and Stalker. The Shredder's going to grow to a 5/5. And that's kind of my action. Dark Ritual. Okay. Let's see what the opponent's trying to do here. Dark Ritual Doomsday. 10 life. Okay. And then the opponent has to attack. Because if they don't, they just die to the menace creatures. Let's see. Go to 5. Attack. Go to 8. Super Shredder grows to 5. Attack my opponent to 3. Play my. I guess the opponent wins if they can cycle twice. So if I draw a fetch land or a bauble, I win. Okay. That's cool. So unless my opponent has 2, what's the green one called? Edge of Autumn in the deck? I don't know. Let's see. Next question is, what happens if I take the damage? Then the opponent Baragoyfs into the Thassa. So that's not a thing. That's a fun one. Cool game. I needed the Dark Ritual for this game to be close. I'm always rooting for, tight games. If I don't have that ritual, I just get cooked, right? What's the fun in that? It's cool the game's still going. Let's learn about our opponent's sideboard plan. Boom. Personal Tutor spotted. Orsa will spotted. Duress. Quad Baragoyf. Okay. The opponent sends the clowns. Sends the clown. If I take this, my opponent finds Oracle. And I don't want that to happen. So let us trade off here. Shredder grows to 5. So I need to draw a fetch or a bauble. I think my opponent is in big trouble. Unless they have 2 of the green cyclers. I guess they could have that in that list. All right. Shredder's up to 5. Can't really do anything about it. Loot would be comical. I draw Thoughtseize. Permanent leaves the battlefield. Yep, that's not going to do it. Okay, so I just assume we're dead here. The opponent's just going to cycle twice, so now even the green and Street Wraith will do it. That was cool. Yeah, people should not be complaining in the chat like something terrible happened. That's not good. Let's learn about my opponent's setup here. Okay, they needed me to not have a fetch or a bauble. Ah, that's cool. That is cool. So no Tamios in my opponent's list, but plenty of Baragoyf. That is good. Good to know about. Yeah, Baragoyf, not too interesting. I like the Dazes. What was the last card I wanted to get rid of? Maybe don't want to get rid of it. What about maybe it's just a Voidwalker because the Shredder is cheap. I'm sorry, the Stalker is cheaper. I think at this point I should have quad push in my deck rather than 2 edicts because I saw my opponent's deck. I think this looks good. I want to draw a couple of creatures and some disruption. Let's see, what is my disruption? This is kind of halfway disruption. Yeah, my matchup is not amazing, but if I can get my opponent into some Doomsday Pass scenarios, I think that's pretty solid. Against decks like this, I love to draw Dark Ritual. I landed on 3 as a number because just a card that doesn't seem very good at drawing a second copy, but I think I want the first copy pretty often. I don't know. Kind of like these. I also had to fit enough creatures, etc., etc. So, yeah, I think this list is pretty solid. It's not gonna, crush a bunch of decks and be the new S tier deck, but I think it has some potential if you like the black aggressive style. Lots of aggressive openers here if I have a ritual. I think even my aggro openers can actually win the game. With 4 pushes. Maybe Baragorf isn't all that bad. Stuff like that. I wonder if it changes for the opponent here. In theory, they could go no Doomsdays at all, right? Okay. We have seen some of this before. I really like it. So let's get Moonshadow and Mai into play. Dark Ritual makes any hand better against combo decks. So with those 2 in play, I mean, the beatdown is pretty solid. Then I can Wasteland and Nethergoyf next turn. So I guess I'm weak to Dark Ritual Baragorf. Yeah, I'm weak to that. That's a problematic opener. My opponent has Force of Will for... Like, if they Force Will a Ritual, is that really what they want to do? Who knows? What if they have Dark Ritual Doomsday? Let's think about that. Then they go to 16 before even resolving the Doomsday. Then they go to 8. And I have 4 attacking power. And I guess the Wasteland will then drive me home. Let's see. I don't think any 5 will have a Force of Will. And if it does, I'm super happy. So let's cast the Shadow first, in case I get forced on this card. Baragorf is the nightmare that very well may come true. Heavily rooting for passing the turn here or cantrip. Ooh, the opponent had to pass. That's brutal. I should cast Nethergoyf here. Let's see. I'm gonna fetch anyway. What if my opponent dazes me here? Yeah, I'm gonna fetch anyway, because there's... Well, they could end step Surveil, I guess. I think it's more important to Wasteland them next turn. So let's do this. Nethergoyf. Bauble, I'll take 2 here. That's not a problem at all. Let us look at our own deck, because we have a fetch land. Maybe that was bad, because I'm gonna... Okay, well, I guess we got away with it, because I was gonna do this anyway. That was bad. Should have looked at my opponent's deck. Again, I would have wished there was a Surveil land, so something to think about. Attack for 5 here. The opponent could have Fatal Push. They don't have Fatal Push, which is awesome for me. This is the turn for the opponent, because otherwise they're getting Wastelanded into the Abyss. So I briefly considered just developing the Wasteland so my opponent could not do this Surveil. Then I would give up damage. I don't know. Maybe the tiebreaker should be, let's say I have a bad card on top with Bauble, I fetch. If I have an awesome card on top, I slow roll the Wasteland. Yeah, that's probably how I should have played. All right, Magic's hard. Let's see. The opponent puts the weird card, Spectral Restitching. Let me just draw here and see what happens. Fetch is a terrible draw. Let's see. Return. Okay, so it's like a way to get rid of multiple creatures momentarily. That's all good. The opponent's a little bit in a hurry. I think it has to do with Baragorf right now. But let's see. Could be wrong. Okay, they have to pass once more. Yeah, that's brutal. More land. Okay, well. Let's get rid of that land. Let's see, no place. Are they just going to take 9 here? Now it looks very questionable because this Moon Shadow is a 4/4 with Menace, and the opponent has 5 life. Yeah, I'm going to hit my opponent with the GGs to you as well. I think it's just, you know, good gesture to say good games. So I'm just going to remind my opponent that they should do that next time. All right, 2-0 with this awesome deck. Let's see if we can take down one more unsuspecting opponent. All right, let's play the last round out here. I'm playing Mono Black Aggro Splash Days, featuring the new Super Shredder, and this hand has no black mana sources. Okay, this hand is absolutely atrocious. But hey, this guy's making, what do you say? Balancing that out by being awesome. Well, since I'm putting a card on the bottom, it might as well be a fetch, right? Or is that flawed logic? I think it's fine. Because I'm casting turn 1 Thoughtseize, there's no reason to fetch, I think. So yeah, this hand is abysmal. I'll have to draw some runner creatures to have a chance. All right, land Thoughtseize. I'm praying my Fatal Push is live against this player. And these Wastelands. Oh, I have no idea what this is. Let's see. Well, it looks like if I take my opponent's Ignoble, they will go fetch, cast Zenith for Dryad Arbor, and maybe I can get them on mana. I don't know. Let's try it. I think this hand has to buy a lot of time. And I think that could very well miss if my opponent gets basic forest here. If they get some kind of duel, I can put them at 0 mana. And then I have to draw out of it afterwards. That's the plan of this. So we got our wish here. Yes, that card is fine as well. Let's just cycle that for good measure. See the speaker once more. So now let's Wasteland. Let's push. And then our plan is to leave our opponent in the dirt and hopefully that I draw out of the dirt faster. Oh well. So one unknown card. Creature there is good. So Stalker. Let me go ahead and fetch a land so that triggers. Again, I would have loved to surveil. I'm curious about the surveil situation. All right, the weakest creature in our deck, but it's better than nothing. I'm secretly rooting for my opponent to fetch a surveil land, for me to daze a spell, for me to wasteland them back into the dirt. Come on, baby. Jund. This is a Jund deck with Vibrance. I'm pretty scared now because, yeah, the opponent obviously had a land here. That's why they kept the card on top. So I'm in trouble. Okay, so I guess now I daze a Vibrance because I want to have my clock in play. Yeah. I mean, it's not amazing, but I guess it will have to do. Now I go ahead and Wasteland. Wish was actually a solid draw. Attack for 2, grow it to a 3. very low resourced game, but I did what I had to do in the beginning with my Thoughtseize. I needed Thoughtseize, Wasteland Push to take out 3 mana sources and hope my opponent stops playing the game, but they didn't. They drew many lands in a row, unfortunately. Let's see what this is. Hopefully this is Badger Mole Cub. It's not Badger Mole Cub, never mind. They have another one. Hexing Squelcher. Okay, I certainly don't care about that card. I'm clocking my opponent. Can we keep getting away with this? Here's Moon Shadow. Here's a land. Here's 3 hasted damage. I mean, we have some menace stuff going on here. I would be very happy if my opponent stopped drawing lands. I think that's... How many lands did they draw in a row here? A lot. I didn't like it. So let's see. The Cub. So, wonder... What do I do here? I probably have to insta push the Badger Mole because it... Hate to life, yes. Because it lets me attack freely with my menace creatures. Okay. I mean, this is not terrible. Let's get in for 5, grow the Stalker to a 4. Again, I would have loved Surveil Land. Yep, looks like this deck needs a Surveil Land. The opponent is now at 8 with Formidable Speaker and an unknown card in hand. Yeah, Menace is... Let's just let our opponent know in case they didn't realize. So the thing is, right now, the opponent actually has a good double block onto the Moon Shadow, which I don't like. Well, let's see what this is. Once Upon a Time. Okay, we live with that, because now I get in for another hit. Also, I guess I don't know what my opponent's deck is about. That's a little bit of a problem. Now they might as well attack. But they don't. Alright. So I guess let's slow roll that land. Very bad draw, by the way. Any fetch land, wasteland creature, probably just the worst card in the deck, period. Being a naked land. I attack my opponent to 2 here. And now is the big turn. The manly opponent could have attacked me, I don't know, once or twice? No, just once, I think. And I'm at 14 how? Thoughtseize, some fetches, maybe chip damage? Wasteland doesn't do much. Let's see. Looks like Broadside Bombardier. That's a cool one. So now... Wait. What do I do here? Do I kill that? I think I kill that with Stalker. I don't think I can let that attack. So now... Oh, I guess I targeted a creature. So let's see. Maybe the move is here to Stalker. Huh. The opponent attacks with Bombardier. No, wait a minute. They can't do anything here. Because if they sack anything, they can't double block. So we got there. I don't know what that Jund deck is trying to do. What is the Jund deck trying to do? I am trying to cast removal spells and Baragorphs, and I'm going to cut Dazes. So let's see. That deck has Badger Moles. That deck has Speakers. That deck has Bombardier. So I like Snuffouts. Maybe I just cut 2 Voidwalkers. That just seems like this, you know, this card can only play offense, right? That's the problem. So I need to be ahead if I'm yeah, that's just smart deck building, I think. So they're currently the worst card in my deck by a mile. Broadside Bombardier. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out earth the opponent is doing with that deck. I have a feeling it has some cool combo in it that I have forgotten about. Okay, so we got away with picking apart the opponent's mana, and despite my opponent drawing well to get back into it, we kind of got there. Oh my god. This is a good habit, I will say that. A very good habit. So this to me looks like Thoughtseize double creature turn 1. Don't mind if I do. Now, is this a basic swamp angle? I think it is. So I will cast Thoughtseize. Fury. Okay. That card is scary because wait a minute. Stalker becomes a 2/2. So does Moonshadow. That is terrible for okay, so let's see. Let's just take a Fury. Now I think I should play Stalker Nethergoyf and slow roll the Bauble. Slow roll the Bauble. What is that? Is that smart? I think it's okay. Okay, pass the turn. This grows, and then next turn, the opponent can only kill one creature with Fury, because this will become a 3/3, the Stalker, that is. Okay, complicated stuff. Now, it looks like my opponent will probably look for a red card, but, I mean, Fury's going to kill one creature, so I'm not too worried about it. This is probably Badger Mole. A card I don't mind too much. Hardcast Fury is annoying, though. Barragoyf, yep, that's not really a thing. So let's go Moonshadow, Bauble, look at the opponent's top card. Send these clowns. Stalker grows end of turn. I need to do this first main because through the Nethergoyf. My opponent's not going to chump block here, so there's that. Let's see. The opponent draws Green Sun Zenith. That's probably a pretty awesome draw. I'm currently looking to draw land. Fetch land would be incredible. So the opponent cannot hardcast Fury yet. I'm basically trying to put on as much damage as I can before the dust settles. I wonder what they can go and get with Green Suns. That is impressive right now. Generally, I'm not very good at playing against, you know, unknown entities. They can go and find a 3-drop here. Like, a card like Endurance would be super annoying because it resets my Nethergoyf. Okay, another Cub. Okay, so next turn, my opponent can do some nasty stuff. I mean, if I draw a fetch land here, I'm the king. Ooh, let's see what this is. Maybe they cast a Zenith for 2 here. Looks like they do. All right. Green Sun Zenith for 2 it is. The opponent's hand is Wasteland Fury. Let's see what this is. Hopefully something I can just Fatal Push. Yeah, like that card. Fetch. Bauble. Wasteland. Yep, that's good enough for me. Let's see what the opponent's going to draw. The opponent's going to draw a very bad Ignoble Hierarch. So I feel like if I attack here, I get my opponent to commit to a double block. I should be in decent shape. The thing is, my opponent's probably going to double block the Moonshadow. How do I feel about that? I think that's okay. I need to kill this white, though. So this is kind of like Cradle Control with the red in it, I guess. I'm currently hoping, but it's not going to happen. My opponent will not commit this. They'll double... Oh, what? Take 6. I kill the white. Huh. Weird block. Let's kill that card right now. Let's pass. Stalker grows. And now the opponent will hardcast Fury. I guess draw Snuff Out? That would be insane. Because then it could kill the Badger Mold, so my opponent didn't have 5 mana. Now they actually have, you know, enough for Fury. Hardcast Fury it is. And that kills the Stalker. So now, what is my opponent going to do if I just send the Nethergoyf? Well, or both, I guess. Oh, the opponent has Ignoble for Shump blocking, so they're going to play everything out. Okay. Killing the Moonshadow. Stalker is in play. Well, I guess that makes sense, right? Because this would have grown the Moonshadow. Apparently, 5/6 Nethergoyf. Pretty cool. What happens if I just attack with Nethergoyf? That's probably unexciting. Fetch land here is pretty good, I think, because now what I can do is play Super Shredder pre-combat. Super Shredder, attack with both. The opponent will have to... Well, it can chum block. But yeah, I think this is pretty solid. Because I'm kind of forcing my opponent to do something. So Fury trades with Nethergoyf, which is annoying. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of trades, and that's good with the Super Shredder. Yep. Menace is complicated. Okay. So, sure. Now I get to kill the Fury. Lots of stuff is dying. Super Shredder is growing. And I think I'm in a decent spot, but my opponent has a lot of mana, so who knows, right? If they wasteland, this becomes a 6. Wasteland my C, Shredder goes to 6. Yep, you got it. They have to have drawn a banger of a card here. Otherwise, this is going to get rough. I don't draw anything useful. I think I should cast this card because I don't want to get blown out by random stuff. Let's see. My opponent had nothing. All right. So let's send the clowns. The opponent has to double block the Shredder and go to 1 probably. Hopefully this is not a winning play. Need to double block. They're blocking everything. Right. Yeah. You're in trouble now, opponent. Because I have a 9/9 or whatever it is against your... I guess they could draw a random removal spell, but then the Nethergoyf is still very powerful. They go to 1, so they need to like back-to-back some awesome cards. We look to be in pole position here. Nine Super Shredder. Not bad. Not bad. The opponent's in the tank here. The opponent seems like a great sport, though, so I'm just expecting actually a kind farewell message. All right. Good games. We managed to get to 3-0, so why not continue the run over on my members page. Become a YouTube member. Follow the run all the way to the end. You get Metagame Monday After Dark, where I solve the format and lay out the blueprint for the coming week's tournaments. You get Eyes on the Prize, where Eureka and I are playing out the best finals matchups from the past week. And you even get to see if I can reach the trophy with a lot of these 3-0 runs. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks to Four Seasons for sponsoring my journey over here. And I hope to see you back for some more sweet, sweet Legacy action.